So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. As you could see there, I neglected to adjust my hair. Aston Villa bow to the Champions League, but bow out with their heads held high. After looking dead and buried, going 2-0 down in this tie, Aston Villa had a miraculous comeback. Started off by Yuri Tielemans, a deflected goal from Yuri Tielemans, John McGinn, and then Ezri Konsa. And then there was about a 20-minute spell. Actually, it was exactly 13-minute spell after halftime, where Aston Villa were so on top, had their purple patch, and probably could have won it tonight. And every single one of those players will quite rightly feel that they were a match for PSG over the course of that 90 minutes tonight. A very different game, I think, to the game in Paris. Everyone will agree with that. A lot more open, Villa a lot more willing to go forward, to their detriment in the first half. Caught by the second of the two goals, the one by Nuno Mendes, for me was both of the goals they conceded were poor goals to concede. There were goals that whereby they played right into PSG's trap in a lot of ways, but taking nothing away from everybody's performance tonight. To come back from 2-0 down, to get to 3-2, and force all those brilliant saves from Donnarumma. Have that one that just glances off or just misses Konsa's head for that header that goes through. The Asensio chance when he's through 1-on-1. I would have put my house. Would have put everybody in the chat here. Would have put everybody's house on Asensio scoring that, and it just wasn't to be in that second half. And Villa go out 5-4 in aggregate. Against what everybody was terming, even during that game, even at halftime, the best team hands down in Europe this season, and Aston Villa have beaten them at home 3-2 today. There can be pride taken in that. There can be moral victories taken in it, and this team can learn a lot and grow from that defeat in towards the rest of the season. Big games coming against Newcastle, big games coming against Man City, big game coming against Crystal Palace. Villa have tasted Champions League quarterfinals tonight. They've tasted it against what people have termed, as I said, the best team in Europe. And they went toe-to-toe with them in that second half. And this team will want Champions League football again next year. And they can get it. They can go out and get it in the next few games. And if nothing else is gained from this, you don't want this to be just a moral victory. What you want this to be is a catalyst, a catapult, a push forward within the league to go and say, we can beat Newcastle, we can beat Man City, we can trust ourselves right into the top 5 conversation, and we can get back and we can try and avenge a defeat like that tonight. Try and get back into the Champions League. Villa are a Champions League football team. They're good enough to grace the quarterfinals of the Champions League and play against teams of the quality of PSG, teams like the quality, and we've said this before, they play against Champions League teams in the Premier League. Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool. They play against those teams. Aston Villa are every single inch worth. They were the success story so far of this Champions League and this new Champions League format. Hands down, beating Bayern Munich. Should have beaten Juventus. Beat PSG, albeit lost over 2 legs. And Aston Villa will come off that field there and they will go, fuck, that goal in Paris. Or they will have regrets over those 2 games. They will. And that's okay. And that's not saying that the team should be, that they left it behind them or anything like that. But those regrets will foster a newfound, I suppose, a newfound belief in the team and a newfound kind of, now there's a new goal to strive for. There's a new goal. We've gotten to that level. We've gone toe-to-toe with PSG when we were dead and buried. 2-0 down in that game, back to 3-2. My phone actually went dead. I had 28% battery in my phone. My phone went dead. I received 49 messages, one after the other, like literally in the space of about a 3 to 4 second burst. My phone actually shut down. So many messages came in at the same time because everybody wanted Villa to win that. And everybody was like, this is brilliant for football. It is excellent for football. Villa to come back, Villa to push PSG, Villa to maybe go on and beat PSG. That was 58 minutes into the second half. Or 58 minutes into the game, should I say, 13 minutes into the second half when Konza scored that goal. The team went from being ridiculed after 15 minutes of the game happening because somebody played the wrong anthem, which is silly, and conceding. And then, everyone, the whole of Twitter was a gag with ridiculing Aston Villa. Flash forward 40 minutes later of game time on the 55th, 56th, 57th, 58th minute, and everybody's like, oh my God, Villa can do it. Not Villa fans, obviously. I'm talking about neutral fans. Everybody wanted us to win that game out that wasn't a Parisian tonight. And Villa nearly did it. And the reason that I'm going off on this one is because this game, like the microcosm of what you take from this game, and Unai Emery should be inside there and he should be literally going eye to eye with every single person in that dressing room and going, you are good enough to be here next year. And you're not good at, it's not the fact, I'm not saying that you're good enough to go and play for a team in the Champions League. You're good enough to get this team into the Champions League next year. You are good enough to get this team into the Champions League next year. And we've 7 more games like that in the league. Is it 7? 6? 7? 6? Can't remember. More games of that in the Champions League, in the league this year. And you can test those nights again if you want to. And you also have another game against Crystal Palace whereby you can lift silverware. This isn't an ordinary Aston Villa team. It's not an ordinary Aston Villa team. And tonight, yet again, underpins that. This is an Aston Villa team that is built differently to the teams that we've seen before, and it comes from the top down. Yes, we make mistakes. Yes, the team made mistakes in this game tonight, but the character, the fight, the belief, that is the takeaway from this game. We might think the team is down and dead and buried. They don't think that. And that's a fucking amazing skill to have. It's an amazing mindset to have. And as I say, it comes from the top down. And that's why those players will be in there tonight and they won't think that they fluked that comeback. They'll go, we knew we just had to keep working because we did get behind them in the first half. We just didn't execute. We looked ponderous and slow. The second half, we certainly didn't. We looked brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And they should be really proud of themselves. And I am super proud. And I know everyone, I'm just seeing it here, flash up here. The people are saying that the boys did us proud today. There's one person here saying too much choking in front of goal. I like to see you score a goal in Donnarumma. Goalkeepers are allowed to save goals too. Not having that shit. Because you can say that about any team. You can say that about Desiree Doué when he came on there. And that's fine. And you can have that view. I can also have the counter view. I'm allowing you the space to say it. I'm not telling you that. I'm just telling you that I don't agree with it. Like we can't always just turn around and start blaming people when they miss chances or when goalkeepers save them. There was no relatively easy chance there tonight that was missed. Donnarumma made a couple of good saves. And I don't care if I'm being overly positive about it. People have different opinions. That's fine. That's the beauty of discourse. And we can all have them. And I can disagree with people. And you guys can disagree with me. That's what the comments are for. That's what my DMs are open. I don't really mind. As I say, I'm not trying to be a bad guy here. I'm just trying to explain my view on the game. And it will not always be right. And that's absolutely cool too. But I am, like, as I say, this team they will think they could have won that game tonight, and they probably should have won that game should have brought that game to extra time tonight. But it didn't happen. It didn't happen. But it's what you take from the game now going on to the rest of the year is what's in it for me. And what would be in it for a lot of those others, a lot of those players on the field tonight. I absolutely think so too. I think Newcastle fans, you can go suck eggs. I will not having that either in the comments. But yeah, brilliant. Yeah. No, I've calmed down a small little bit there because it is very emotional to come on afterwards, specifically something like that, and after a game like that. So let's try and look at it, I suppose, in a more kind of linear way, more of a kind of a timeline. So Villa didn't obviously get off to the greatest start, as I mentioned before. I suppose the team itself, a lot of people were skeptical about the team. It was a different type of team that we would normally see Aston Villa put out. But they did go with that stranger setup. I thought particularly in the first maybe 30 minutes, Onana was very static in midfield, and then when he started to come into it, Villa really built from there as well. McGinn obviously getting on balls, and he did an awful lot of work in that area as well. I thought there was I thought Rashford and Rodgers at times were a bit disjointed, but we were getting chances. The ball was getting through, and we obviously fluffed our lines at times in that first half. But then we get the slice of luck through Youri Tielemans. And I'm just seeing Donnarumma's save here from Rashford again. What a save! And then also he saved from Youri Tielemans. He had to get full stretch out to that for that header as well. Like, they're brilliant saves. And Konsa, I don't know, does it hit his head even? No. And then Maatsen at the end. I forgot all about Maatsen's chance as well at the end. It didn't flash up here. Maatsen has the sweetest strike he will have all year. And he's had a couple of them already. William Patcher gets in the way of it. And Donnarumma was left. Like, there was no way he was getting down to it. You know, they're the chances that we had, and they're the ones that didn't go in the back of the net, unfortunately. And they're the ones that we will probably, that a lot of people will talk about, because Villa had those chances and they didn't take them to get it back to 4-4. The was anybody's, like, I suppose I was a bit surprised there wasn't changes made at halftime, and then obviously Unai was proven to be right. So, like, as I say, that's the beauty of Unai Emery, that he does tend to kind of get it right more often than not, and he didn't make any changes at halftime. And a couple of text groups I was in were kind of flabbergasted by that, because they wanted changes at halftime. We needed to make something happen, and there wasn't. And arguably, you could say that the changes we made, which I think we needed to make, by the way, because we were, like, our players had given absolutely everything. The changes we made did kind of take something away from our midfield. Onana going off, McGinn going off. Who came on? Was it Asensio and Ramsey came on for those guys? I think that did take a small little bit of something out of our midfield, because when we were on that charge. But then that grew back, and in the last 5, 6, 7 minutes, then again, including the injury time that was played, which I thought should have been more than 3 minutes, but I suppose, with my claret and blue glasses on. Asensio got into the game. He had that chance that Donnarumma comes out and closes down, and obviously Maatsen has that shot, and just things didn't go in, and that's really what we'll take away from this game, as well as I say the moral victory stuff. I'm just watching back again. Ezri Konsa's goal, what a finish! The work Marcus Rashford did for Ezri Konsa's goal, and then the finish Konsa pulls out of the bag is just absolute top class. Jesus, he couldn't have put it anywhere else in the goal, and Donnarumma would have had it. He just puts it right in the bottom corner. Absolutely bloody brilliant finish from Konsa. But yeah. So yeah, I think going back to that, I think our midfield kind of ran out of steam, but they took a bit of time to get back up to speed once we made the substitutions. And I think what happened there as well is that gave PSG time to kind of regroup, like when you're like in a boxing match, when the boxer gets a couple into the body, and they start to get winded, and their feet start to kind of wobble a small little bit. If we give them time, they'll get their breath back. And I think that's what happened. And look, it probably was always going to happen, because we did take our chances during our purple patch. But I don't fault any of those substitutions, because I thought that they were the right substitutions to make. As I say, I hindsight is 2020 with regards to those. A couple of people talking in the comments there about the referee as well. I thought So I suppose, look, the McGinn Hakimi thing. I still don't know what to make of it. I don't know whether it was a red card. It was stupid from Hakimi, certainly. I called for a red card at the time. VAR, the reason I'm saying that is that if that's McGinn and Hakimi, I probably actually think that McGinn might get the red card for that if it's the opposite way around. But we will never know what the situation is. Like, he doesn't make contact with the head, he doesn't make contact with anything, but he shouldn't have done it. And I just don't know where I stand. And I suppose I would come down on the fact that, you know, it is stupid play. It is like, why should your foot be anywhere near somebody's head? It would be the same as, you know, if he doesn't make contact with somebody and he goes over the top with his head, or with your foot towards somebody's head, even if they're bending down, you know, the referees will always have a look at it. Some of those aren't red cards. But apart from that, I think the ref was, I think the ref gave them a lot of leeway with regards to some of those fouls, specifically, I suppose, at the end when they could kill the game. And look, that's what good teams do. That's what teams from the continent do. That's what teams who are used to playing in European competition week in, week out do as well. Oh, that Rashford chance as well where he got Donnarumma smothered the ball. That's what they do. And PSG did that as well here. You know, they yes, actually that's true, Duncan. Intent as well. Intent is right. Yeah. Intent is right. And you guys are all right with regards to what you said there. You know, did he intend to kick them? We've had players who've intended to do stuff as well. We've had Lee Hendry all those years ago sent off for intimating that he was going to headbutt somebody and all that stuff. So that's why I'm kind of like I don't know whether that was whether they were right to be sent off back then either, but they were. So I wonder, does precedent dictate future sanctions, I suppose, for players? I'm not quite sure that it does. It's yeah, but like the only real qualm I had and query about the whole thing was the 3 minutes. I just think that there was more than 3 minutes stoppage time. And that's being honest. I know people won't agree with me with that. Like, I'm not sure the referee lost us this game tonight. I don't think there's anything there. We can always give out about spot fouls here and there, but for me, I think the only thing that I vehemently disagreed with, I suppose, was the 3 minutes injury time at the end for the referee. And look, other people will have different views. I'm sure Paddy will have different views as always. So I'm sure he'll have wildly different views on the referee being there and probably seeing it live as well. But I think for me, it was the big thing for me was the added time at the end. But I can't say that the referee would have lost us this game or was the reason why we didn't get the fourth goal tonight. Correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I can't think of any specific situation that would have dictated us not getting that fourth goal at any stage. Or like, he called some offsides, and the linesman actually called some offsides I thought might have been onside for Ousmane Dembele at times in that game. But you know, we played that high line, I think, really well tonight. I think the defense certainly played it better than they did in Paris, and I think that has to be commended as well. Albeit that when we did concede the 2 goals from the fullback, specifically the first one, Hakimi beats the offside trap because he was down injured. He comes back, just gets it back onside. Dembele, I think, was out on the left hand side as well. He beats the offside trap, but I'm sure that Luka Dean didn't have any clue that he was behind him, that Hakimi was behind him, and then he just pulls in after the mix-up then between Torres and Martinez, and then Hakimi just starts it in the back of the net. You know, it wasn't the most ideal way to start the game. I'm watching Ezri Konsa give an interview here, but I can't hear what he's saying. I'm sure you guys may have seen it before, because I think I saw a comment flash up there saying that Konsa basically says we move on to the league now, and that's all you can do. All you can do is move on to Newcastle on Saturday and take the positives from this and make sure that you replicate some of the brilliant play that we had here at home versus Newcastle on Saturday. And beating Newcastle is a massive carrot, you know, for Aston Villa to get back into that Champions League, those Champions League places as well. Cool. Right, so lads, I am Just looking at some of the comments here just to see if I missed anything as well. Anything from the game, but I'm not sure I did. Yeah, a couple of people saying that John McGinn was man of the match. I think John McGinn was absolutely excellent tonight. I think for a 15-minute period, Rashford was absolutely unplayable there at the start of that second half. He really came alive, really came alive there in that second half. Brilliant. And I thought McGinn for me was man of the match. And as I say, we did lose something in midfield when he went off. He gave a real captain's performance. He was all over the field. He was very effervescent there as well. And fair play to him. He can hold his head high, and I think a lot of people can as well. That's my head. On the commentary, Shearer said he heard it was 8 minutes. I think everyone baffled at just 3. I don't know. I don't even know what I would guess. I don't even know what I would guess for the amount of added time that it should have been. I just thought maybe 3 was a bit stingy on that. Thanks so much, Cormac O'Grady. McGinn was getting bruised the whole game, and sadly proud of our lads nonetheless. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. Thanks a million. And Bolg as well. Thank you so much, Bolg. You're always here every week. Really appreciate that. Can't beat PSG in the Champions League quarterfinal and not super chat. Well done, Neil and Paddy, for amazing content all year round. Up the Villa. Thanks so much, Bolg, and thanks, Cormac, for that as well. And really appreciate that as well. Where are we? I do agree with Johnny Fitz as well. Over 400 in the chat and less than 100 likes. Like the guy's video. Yeah, there's 1,100 people watching here across all the different platforms. Please give us a like if you do. Costs you nothing. We'd love to have you all on board again. And hopefully I'll have somebody else with me the next time, because sometimes these games, I won't say sometimes, all the time, these games are very difficult to talk about. Win, lose or draw after a game when you're here on your own. So with that being said, and the fact that I know that we'll probably have to do another podcast tomorrow and then probably another one on Thursday. I'll probably actually have to do 2 tomorrow and another one on Thursday. I think I'm going to leave it at that, guys. I know there's going to be a ton of other Villa content out there that you guys are going to want to take on board. Claret and Blue, I'm sure, will have something up. I'm sure Max will have something out really quickly after that game as well. So please go and support all the other Villa content creators. In the link that we have here as well, the NordVPN, the short-term NordVPN offer is still available. Scotty VB won our NordVPN giveaway last weekend as well. He won a 2-year subscription to NordVPN worth £130. We are looking to give another one away on Thursday because I'm feeling so generous. Looking to give another one away on is it Thursday? Yeah, Thursday when we do the Newcastle preview show. So please join us for that. It'll be the last show that we do this weekend because I'm going away to get married, so we won't have a team sheet tantrum or a post-match podcast. So we will look to give away something whether it's that or whether it's something else, we look to give it away on the Thursday podcast. So please do join us for that and tell all your friends to come join us as well, because we'd like to have a decent crowd in here. But go and tomorrow, puff out your chest when you're going to work tomorrow. Aston Villa should be proud of what they achieved tonight. They should also be disappointed that they didn't bring it to extra time. But, you got to take the good things out of that game. The good thing out of that game is that the resilience that the team showed coming back from 2-0 down to win 3-2, that is really going to stand to this team as we go through the rest of the year. And it's going to stand to their charge towards Europe again, and also hopefully within the FA Cup. So there's a lot to be played for this year, and what a ride it's been in the Champions League. So I'm going to leave it at that, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, all that's left to say is up the Villa.